what is Moos to you?
It is a chaos machine. Like like I love chaos.
Yeah.
It is a project in development. So Moos is like, I think there's a couple different parts of it. It's like an urban village where people are living kind of semi-permanently. It is an urban village where there's like lots of kind of like experiments happening that relate to like making, like crafting, like, and sort of subtly, like with the intention of like somehow by doing things that are a little bit like more homemade, that there is like a kind of political will embedded in that, but it also has to do with like sometimes like economic experiments, like circles. And then there's the residency that we're in, which is like, I think a project that is about trying to define itself right now, like trying to figure out what it is. It's like a young teenager of a project that's like trying to like self-examine as it also grows. Wow. And I think altogether, it's quite interesting because it's like about making a place in Berlin that has a culture that is both like receiving information from the outside, but also very much making its own culture.
Yeah.
And then I think like the residency for me in particular is, I think it's an experiment that's going to go through lots of different phases and changes. I think it's very young to me in many ways. Like one of the ways is like it's a project that does not have a leader or leadership yet that's very like clear. So I think it's like it's asking for people to come and stay there who will make it through using it, and that's interesting. But it has obviously lots of challenges in it.
Which is also a similar problem, maybe not a problem, but it's a similar dynamic of how do you call it, the urban village, where there's not really someone in charge, I think, sort of directing everything, and maybe it is also defining itself through its own creation.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, everything starts somewhere, so it's like all of it has a lot of like context, all of it has a lot of people embedded in it, and then like how it grows seems like it grows as it changes, and it changes as it grows, which is how everything honestly works. I don't know what I think about it anymore. It's changing so much all the time.
Do you have any thoughts on like living here, like co-living, your experiences so far?
So I like have an apartment outside now.
That's where we're at.
Because I'm working really hard, and I'm an introvert. And so like for me to be in a space that's so social and like always changing and without a sense of structure.
A chaos machine,
I have to leave to regenerate, I realized, because I was very sick and very tired for a couple of months. And I think like by leaving, I'm able to come back, but more as like a vacation than as a home.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really interested in co-living, but I think for me, there needs to be like a sense of like structure and safety where like we know we can build something together, and then the work that we put in will somehow, like we know where it's gonna go, or a little bit, or we know that like the work we put in is gonna last and produce new things in the future. And I think,
it'll form part of the like institutional memory, and it can live on in a certain way.
Yeah, because obviously I'm really interested in social systems. So like for me to put a bunch of energy into a social system, it's like I want to know that there are agreements in place that means that those things can continue, and that they will be, like held and grown. And I think that's possible here, but it's just not very clear how yet, or what the future is.
Do you know if there's a way where that works really well? Like, I mean, in a certain kind of organism that resembles this one, like, have you seen something that works or that could work here?
I think there's different versions of cooperatives. that I don't know them well. Like, I mean, I think there's cooperatives and then there's like collectives. And I think if there, I wish I had a good example of something offhand that already exists. There's many versions, like in Canada, of like how to do cooperative living that is by committee. Like people live there, but they form a committee and different people do different jobs on that committee, and it's very ritualized.
And it's formal, and there are roles,
formal,
and there's a specific way to have a meeting, and you take notes, and you ask in a certain order.
Yeah, and maybe that's not actually ideal at this point, or for us. But I think I generally think that like having, like, as I feel like this is like a pattern in our whole conversation, I really believe in structure. And I think for me, having a clear role is really grounding. And when I have a role, I feel really creative in it. And when I don't, I feel really confused. And I think also when I know other people's roles, I know what I can ask for. And I also know like how I can support them. And a big part of me is like wanting to support people. So I think that like so much about communication and naming is really the thing that I think is crucial for kind of community to thrive.
Yeah, I'm almost imagining it like a social network kind of thing where people enter and there's this, not like necessarily a huge profile, but even just to say, as you said now, like, here is what I can do, here's what I need.
There's so much that can happen with communication and kind of communication structures, and just knowing when to talk about what, and like, and having a sense of process that's very clearly communicated. When and why do new people come, and how does that look, and what do we do for them, and what do they do for us, and how does that sort of cycle happen? And it can be very organic, but I think if there's some central ideas, structures and stuff, it just means that people like can relax.
Yeah, focus on their stuff. Other than the hologram, any collaborations with like other residents or even in the extended Moos community?
I have many friendships and kind of like baby collaborations. I mean, Jonathan, who lives here, is helping like make we're making a video about the hologram, so that's very holographic. And then I spent a lot of time with Chris Harris. We do a lot of sort of like supporting each other's work. It's not exactly like a collaboration, but like I think we're doing like a kind of baby research project about like kind of rest. And then also he's helping a different collective I'm a part of work on a project about dreams and collective dreaming. And then like another member of the kind of Moos community, Manuela Bosch, like she's been my teacher for a long time, teaching social presencing theater. And I think we have a very kind of like deep and long-term relationship where we talk about and think about how to sort of structure like workshops and moments where people like relate in different ways.
That's a lot. Wow, I had no idea you were working on all of this.
I think there's other ones. I mean, I feel like I'm in a collaboration with Jacob where, like with like outfits. Like sometimes we get like outfits together or outfit help, or some person gets another person some sparkly pants, or one person gets the other person a genie hat, and things like that happen.
Anything you've learned from your experience here that you want to share?
I mean, I think I was like one of the first times when I've like learned my own boundaries and like had to kind of figure out a way to be like my own version of participation, like to not necessarily just do what I see, but actually find my own way. And I think it's still in process, but like, I think I've learned a lot about my own kind of like boundaries and needs, honestly. And it's been hard, but I think like
this thing about being an introvert. I mean, you knew you were an introvert before you got here, but you didn't know that you maybe shouldn't live in a space like this.
Or like there was things that I think I learned a lot about like what I actually need in order to be a person like living and working with lots of other people. Right. And so and also knowing and kind of trusting that like I can meet my own needs and then still show up to the group and be like, well, you know, certain things work, certain things don't work. You wanna have a taco? I don't know, you know, it's...
Nice. Where can people find out more about you?
So I have a website. It's kind of old school and a little bit embarrassing, thefeministeconomicsdepartment.com. And then I have, there's also a Substack, feministeconomicsdepartment.substack. And from there, there's lots to dig up. I'm so old and I have so many things on the internet.
Yeah, it's novel to have people that have been around the internet that long, actually. Yeah. How long have you been on the internet?
I've had a website, I think, since or before 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like over 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Respect. Great to chat with you, Cassie. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. It was so fun.